Alright, before we start this video off, I have to make fun of myself for a second. We went from this, can it go 8s? The answer was yes, to this, it's broken in less than a day. You know, they say it makes the most power just before it blows up. Alright guys, in today's video we're going to do a follow-up video on the junkyard VK56 engine, which we just blew up. Now, if you guys didn't see the other videos, we made around 800 wheel horsepower with this guy right here, and we blew it up on the last day of sick week. Now, this is a bone stock engine. The only modifications that we have done to this thing is we installed some oil pump gears, and that's about it. I didn't do anything like ring gap or, take the thing apart and inspect any bearings. Literally the only things that were done to the engine was we installed this intake manifold here and we built a custom lower oil sump. Now, we already discussed some of the failure that happened to this thing when it blew up on the last day of sick week, but in today's video I want to kind of follow up on that. A lot of you left some comments that I would like to respond to, and there's a few things that we could definitely go into a little more detail with that maybe I didn't cover so well in the first video. So go watch the first video if you haven't, but let's get into it. All right, guys, the first thing that we are going to cover is where did all the water come from? You can see that there's this sort of oily, watery mix down inside of the intake, and a lot of you said, well, did it take in a slug of water and did it hydraulic the cylinders? And was that what caused the rods to bend and then, pull the pistons down into the crankshaft throws? Well, I did a bad job of showing you guys all of the carnage, so let me pop the one cylinder head off of this thing and I'll show you exactly where the water came from. All right, guys, can you see where the water came from? Yeah, it's right there. So I probably should have showed this to you guys in the last video, but this is actually the cylinder where this happened, right here. This guy was still relatively attached down here, and the pin was still through here, and this thing was just flailing around and poking holes and stuff, and you can see that it poked a hole in the sleeve here. Now, the engine was running for a good amount of time after the actual failure happened. Yes, these two pistons had fully disintegrated and the engine was still running. It didn't shut off until just before I came to a stop on the side of the track. So it was just making all kinds of chaos down here. It was likely, ingesting water here and getting it down there and getting it up here and sending it up through the intake valves and filling the intake manifold. I truly don't think the water ingress was pre-blow up. We looked at the head gaskets very thoroughly. They were definitely sealed up very good. Frankly, the head gasket arrangement on these VK56 engines is just incredible. So I don't think we had a problem there, but yeah, I think we just poked a hole into the coolant jacket, and that's where the water came from. Other people suggested that maybe the wiring issues that we were having with the car throughout the week could have caused the injectors to max out and fill the cylinders full of fuel, and maybe that hydraulicked the cylinders. Well, first off, we didn't see the telltale sign of that in the data log. Normally what happens there is it shows that it's making 60 pounds of boost, and then our injector duty cycle goes crazy. It reports a injector max flow output fault, and it kind of shuts everything off. We didn't see that in the data log. And also, if you guys are fans of Steve Morris over at the Steve Morris Engines YouTube channel, he actually did a little bit of a discussion on exactly what we're talking about here. There's simply not enough fuel volume flowing through this engine. Even if you were running this thing at maximum duty cycle on your injector, there's just not enough time for it to inject enough fuel through these injectors right here to be able to fill the volume that is present in the cylinder when the piston is all the way up. So it's definitely not a problem with that. That being said, we did see the AFR reading go lean in our data log, so maybe one of these injectors is having an issue where some debris got into it and maybe it's not opening anymore, and I definitely think we should have a look at that. So Let's do it. All right, lucky for us, I have the exact tool for the job to figure out if you have problems with your injectors, and that is an injector flow bench. So I've taken all of the injectors out of the engine and put them into little baggies with numbers on them so that I could keep track of what cylinder they were on, and we're going to run them through the flow tester and see if any of them have any anomalies that we should note. So let's get to work. Alright, here are our test results. Now we ran 3 tests on our injectors. There was a low speed test, a medium speed test, and a high speed test. Now you're going to see a little bit of variance between the lower speed tests, but on the high speed test you can see that it's pretty consistent. And this is probably the column that we should pay the most attention to. Frankly, the variance at the lower speeds isn't really anything that I'm concerned with. But at the higher speed, you can see that it's pretty dang consistent. 2 cylinders 3 and 4 were the ones that we had issues with, and they're not low enough to have any concern about it having leaned out those 2 cylinders or anything like that. Obviously, the lean AFR that we saw in the data log probably had to do with something else. And while we're on the subject of the data log, why don't we have a look at it? Now, just for reference, I'm going to give you the data overlays for the best pass, and then we can look at how bad the bad pass was.
Running in 6 weeks.
The only thing that was really odd about the good pass is the ethanol content. For some reason, the ethanol content took a dive when I launched the car, but you're going to notice on the bad pass that it didn't do that.
The Mustang right side. Left hand side is the Nelson family hot rod, I believe. The wall and a lot of smoke now. 1045 to 126.
Alright, with this pass we had a bit more ethanol content in the car. I made sure to fuel it up on some X85 from VP. That is why the ethanol content was higher. The only thing that I really noticed in this data log was it was a little bit lean and it made a little bit more boost. Now, 13.5 AFR on a gasoline scale is not insanely lean. In fact, if you look at Steve Morris and his SML program, he pretty regularly runs his engines at that AFR. That being said, he has all of the top shelf parts. We're running stock parts, and I like to throw a little bit more fuel at it in order to help those stock parts live. Could this have caused the failure? Maybe. Maybe the AFR being lean caused it to detonate in some way, and maybe that's what caused the rods to bend. I feel like we would see that in the piston though. We didn't see any issues with the rings getting tight on the top ring or anything like that in the previous video, so I don't know, hard to say. Next, let's move on to another thing you guys asked about, and that is the cylinder head. Another thing that you guys asked about a bunch in the comments is, how did the cylinder heads fare? Well, this one here got pretty jacked up. You can see that the spark plug got flattened pretty good here. Probably all the valves are bent on this particular cylinder. And, you know, you could kind of expect that. This was the one that by far there is the most damage in on the block side as well. Is it fixable? Probably. Is it worth fixing? Probably not. But this would be, you know, a good mock-up head now. We could also, you know, have somebody who might want to port one of these, you know, find the limits of the port job. Now, on some of the other cylinders, you can see that we got some debris in between the valve and the valve seat. Hopefully that didn't bend a valve. You know, we will likely pull all of these valves out of this head in order to be reused on other combinations. Now, as far as the cylinder on the other bank, this one actually looks pretty good. You can see that the spark plug still got mushed a little bit, and the valves very likely got damaged on this one. This one definitely could be more easily saved, but, you know, it definitely saw a little bit of damage as well. Now, something else odd that we saw on this whole blow-up was there was actually a few cylinders where we saw the valve guide had broken. Actually, yeah, you can see it right there. See how the valve guide is cracked there? I don't know if this happened because of the failure or after the failure. I know that John Rogers was having issues with his valve guides, but he was having issues with his valve guides on the exhaust side of the engine, which makes a little more sense just because that's where all the heat is. But definitely a little odd. I don't know if some debris got up in there and it got jammed up against something and caused the valve guide down in there to crack, but I don't know. All right, so hopefully that gives you guys a little more detail on what we think actually happened here with this one. This thing definitely saw a lot of abuse, and we did a lot of really mean things to it. But Dad has just picked up the replacement right here, and we're gonna have some new exciting stuff to play with on this one that I'm excited to show you guys. This right here is a later VK56, and this one has VVT. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of the VVT on the Vortec 4200s, and it's going to be fun to play with intake VVT, which is something we've never gotten to play with. And since these engines actually made more power than the non-VVT engines, there's been a question that's kind of been looming in my head. Did Nissan put a stronger rod in these engines? Can we use this stronger rod in order to get us to where we want to go as far as power goals? So make sure that you tune in to the later videos where we discover all of that. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed today's video, go watch our other VK56 videos, hit the hype button, and we'll see you in the next one.